Hello again, Argonaut fans. It's time for the Argonaut Weekly here at GoArgos.com, your inside look at the University of West Florida Athletic Department. Another very busy week in the spring sports calendar. Rob Walden along with Matt Rowley from the UWF Sports Information Department. And Matt, we start this week with the UWF tennis teams, both the men's and women's tennis teams in action at the Gulf South Conference tournaments. The men finished second, but the women captured their 11th GSC tournament title in program history. A monumental victory, not just for Coach Derek Racine and the Women's Tennis Club, but also for the UWF Athletic Department as a whole.
That's right. The 5-0 win for the women's team over North Alabama in the finals, the 11th in program history, the second in the last 3 years for the team, and also for the athletic department as a whole. That's number 58 in the trophy case, 58 Gulf South Conference championships, and that's significant because that matches UWF with Troy as the most all-time across all sports in the GSC's history. So the Argonauts were the active leader in total conference championships, but now they are tied with Troy for the overall lead at 58.
Certainly a huge victory for the women's tennis team. Women's tennis regionals will be announced along with the men on April 26. Let's turn our attention to the baseball squad now, Matt. The number one ranked team in all of Division II baseball went 3-1 this past week. Did lose their 22-game winning streak to Alabama Huntsville on Saturday afternoon, but still another fine week for Mike Jeffcoat's club. They took care of Mobile in the midweek, took 2 out of 3 from the Chargers over the weekend, and maintained their firm grasp on the number one spot in the GSC East standings.
Right, the Argonauts, despite the one loss, just keep on rolling. Plenty of dominant performances individually. Greg Prawn having just a monster week. Had home runs in each of the 3 games at Alabama Huntsville. Jason Postel had a great start in the first game of that series, going 8 scoreless innings with 10 strikeouts. And then to close out the series, it was fun to watch Shane Waller strike out the last 7 batters he faced. He retired 8 in a row to finish that game. The last 7 were all strikeouts and all were swinging. So some great individual performances, and the team is rolling right along despite the one loss. Now 37-5 overall.
It is disappointing to see the winning streak come to an end. Obviously, at a school record 22 games in a row. But probably not enough to knock the Argonauts out of the number one spot in the national rankings. And also, I think, Matt, perhaps some pressure is lifted off of this Argonaut team. Without the winning streak weighing them down, perhaps they can go out and take care of business the last month of the season. Not that they were having any trouble playing under the pressure of the winning streak, but still they can shift their focus from that streak onto the more important GSC and regional and hopefully national trophies that they'll be playing for in the upcoming months.
And one thing to keep in mind going into postseason play is, it's not like other sports that it's double elimination tournaments in the postseason, so you don't have to be perfect to win. You can lose a game here and there and still go on to win the championship. So a winning streak is great for the program, great for the team, but in the grand scheme of things, not all that significant for the team's overall success. And so switching gears from baseball to softball now, the Argonauts had a tough weekend on the road up in Alabama. Tell us about that weekend.
Yeah, it was a huge weekend for Tammy Sears Club. They took on West Alabama on Saturday, North Alabama on Sunday. Argonauts lost all 4 games, 8-7 and 8-0 to West Al, and then 10-4 and 4-2 to North Alabama. So that drops UWF under the 500 mark overall, now 19-20, and most importantly, Matt, 8-15 in the GSE standings, which puts them in 6th place and now 2.5 games out of 4th, which of course you need to get in the top 4 to qualify for the GSC tournament at the start of May. So Coach Tammy Sears Club has just 4 regular season games left. They're at home against West Georgia on Friday, Alabama Huntsville on Saturday, and unfortunately, Matt, not that they're not capable of doing it, because they certainly are, but unfortunately, it looks like the Argonauts are going to need to win all 4 of those games and get some help to qualify for the GSC tournament. So not a great week for softball, but women's tennis brought home a GSC trophy, and baseball went 3-1. Now the GSC golf tournaments are currently in progress at the time of our taping. Both the women's and men's teams are on the course, and you can follow their progress at GoArgos.com. Everybody was on the road this weekend, so we do have a light schedule here on the Argonaut Weekly. Just one interview. When we come back, we'll talk to assistant baseball coach Shane Gerke. So we'll talk to Shane after a quick timeout You are watching the Argonaut Weekly here at GoArgos.com.